Okay, so I'm back with video number 2, and we're working on this December daily. I went ahead and let the front of this dry, and then I took a piece of cloth and first put it in this binding part over here, and I let the cloth come up on both sides. I didn't cut it very close to where the spine is, sorry, the part, this is the spine part. And then I took the fabric that was left over from the sides, I brought it in from the top, the bottom, and both the sides. Now what I'm going to do is I've cut 2 pieces of paper, and I am going to glue these on both ends, and that will give us a very neat finished looking book. And because our signatures are going to be here, we're not going to be seeing this too much, but I'm also going to add another little piece there that will add some beautiful finishing. So let's get started. I'm actually getting very excited about using this December daily. I've kind of been dreading creating this because I thought that, one, it wouldn't look nice, and then I wouldn't know what to do with it, that I wouldn't feel creative enough. But somehow just getting started and then playing around with everything and just sticking with the idea and seeing the project through really helps, and it gets you out of your creative slump. Okay, so what I want to do here for the binding is I want to put in some ribbon, and I have this very pretty white ribbon, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm also going to use it for the closure. And so this is still, I can still peel this apart, so I'm going to put this inside, and so you can see over here that this then can become the closure. I'll do the same on the other side. And I love this about this glue, that it gives me a little bit of time to kind of change my mind. I'm just making sure that they are both in the same place. Again, cutting it off. And now I'm going to put some in the center, but I'm going to put it so that it overlaps this paper a little bit. And I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to start from the top like that, and it's just going to show through a little bit on this side and on the other side, and I think that'll look very, very nice. And also this is now completely finished and looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm just going to hold this up to the camera so that you can take a closer look. But as you can see, this is totally finished, gorgeous edges, no problems anywhere. So there we have that. And I'm going to put a little bit more glue because I do want to hold this in place. If you wanted it to be looser, you could leave it like that as well, because we're also going to stitch through it, so it's not like the lace is going absolutely anywhere at all. So we're done with the inside. We've got our closure, and this is what the spine looks like. Now, remember I told you I wanted to do something fun on the spine, which is why I wasn't covering it with anything. So yeah, it's like that. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to take some fabric and I'm going to glue that. And again, I'm letting this, I'm not putting the fabric down end to end. I'm just making sure that it stays in place. And I just put glue down the center. So, I mean, this part can be lifted up, and I kind of want that. I don't want it to be just glued. And I will show you why in the end. And I'm going to go in with this ribbon. For me, these journals, I think it's honestly a lot about the layering and the way you work with different kinds of materials. That's what makes them awesome. So here, I'm going to hold that down, and I'll do the same on the other side. These clips are a lifesaver because they really do hold all the different parts of the book down well, and you know, make sure that they dry the right way. Okay, so now this is the front. Just checking here once, and we need to put the front piece that we created over here. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scoot this over this side a little bit, because I want to make sure that the placing is right. Now, because I have not left space all around, I have to be very careful to make sure that my piece is perfectly aligned. If your front piece of the book was a little smaller, then you would just center it on your book cover. But mine is, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to sit on the entire cover with no border. And there's no reason for that. It's just a preference. So I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up here with the edge. And over here, so I'm going to let it dry like that, but I'm going to put a lot of clips all around, like here. This will hold it here. Bring this in to hold it here. You don't need the clips to go in. You just need to make sure that the edge is held down very well. In my opinion, there is no such thing as too many clips, because it'll just help it dry better. Now, this is the only part where I can't really get any clip in, and so I'm just pressing this down, and I'm going to lay this aside to dry, and now we can work on the signatures. So let me just clear up some of the desk space over here, and let's talk about what we're going to use inside for signatures. So first of all, I mean, the obvious choice is that you would use some scrapbook paper. So let's fold that down the center. This is some scrapbook paper that I got from Kazakhstan. I think this is Russian. Really liked it. And again, it goes with the theme. This is, I believe, Maggie Holmes. Again. And this is a something in mistletoe. Mittens and mistletoe. This is again paper that I got from Kazakhstan. This is paper that I marbled. After my trip to Turkey, I came back home with a lot of supplies to marble paper, and I created a batch of paper. And now when I create books, I pull from that batch. These are pages that I took out from an old book, and I just love the paper. So we're going to be using that. This is paper that I have tea dyed myself. So we will be using this. And then we have a couple of doilies. We will be using these. I think these are 2. Yes. So we will be using these doilies. And then these are pages from one of my favorite magazines. It's called Daphne's Diary. If you haven't already, do check it out. And in fact, I will have some videos up on my channel soon where I will do a flip through of one of the magazines, and then I will show you how I use the magazine in my crafting. And so basically these are just pages that I liked out of that magazine. And this is again the Mittens and Mistletoe collection, but I'm going to be cutting out these cards and using them as embellishments later. So these are all our pieces. The only thing that we need to make sure of is the height and width of our papers. So what I mean by that is this is not going to be a problem. The height and width are all fine. So the Daphne's Diaries pages are fine. So are the tea dyed papers. The marble papers will need to be trimmed a little bit from the top and the side. But the biggest trim that we will have to do is probably for the scrapbook paper. And I'm just going to measure roughly where I want to cut. And then I will bring out my trimmer and I will trim. There are so many things that you can use for pages in your December daily. You can use envelopes and, you know, other fun stuff like that. Now, when I'm making a junk journal, I'm not very particular about all the pages being the same height. In fact, I kind of like them not being the same height. And so I'm just roughly going in and making sure that I have pieces that are the right height. I just don't want them protruding out of the book cover. Other than that, I don't have an issue with them being different sizes. Okay, so now what will happen here is, after I trim these a little bit, I think junk journaling is an art journaling. For me, basically, junk journal is kind of art journaling because I love to upcycle, and a lot of my art journaling work was based on reusing stuff as well. I think it's such an incredible hobby to have because you can practice so many different kinds of art and craft within these pages. I mean, everything from bookbinding to lettering to collage to mixed media, journaling, everything can be explored in the pages of a junk journal. So now we are going to create our signatures. And I want the signature of the cover of one signature to be this. And I want the second signature cover to be this. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start layering pages in, and there is no rhyme or reason to this. Honestly, I am just going in and putting things in a manner that I feel will be pleasing. But in the end, remember that, I mean, if you don't like the way a certain page is looking, you can always just cover it up with a picture or collage. And hopefully in the next few videos, I will be sharing with you ways in which I will be filling up this journal. So you should not be I mean, you won't be left high and dry with no ideas. So this is the signature, right? This is what it looks like. And as you can see there, I mean, pieces are poking out. I don't mind. This is what it flips. The flip through will look like. And there we have it. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sheets, which gives me 18 pages, which is a lot, considering we're only using this for December. Okay, so this is the cover. I'm going to go in first with a marbled paper, then a magazine page, then a patterned paper. Then I will put in the doily and this page. And as you can see, I mean, honestly, there's literally no science to this. I'm just doing what I feel like doing. The only thing that I will make sure of is that both signatures have the same amount of pages. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that one had 9 and I have 2 left over. So what I'll do is I will put this in here and I will put this one in the middle of this one. So now they both have 10 pages, which gives us 20 pages in this. Sorry, 10 sheets, 20 pages in this, 20 in this. And then if you look at both sides, that's a lot. I don't know if I'll be able to fill it, but it'll give you 80 pages. So 10 sheets in each signature means a total of 20 sheets, and that means a total of 40 pages and 80 sides, right? So now what we want to do is we want to sew this into our book. And now how we're going to do that is, again, we will need 2 clips. And the reason why we're going to use the clips is that we want to hold these pieces together like so that when we poke holes, nothing moves. We will do the same on the other one. And then I am going to create what's called a guide. And it's super simple. I'm just going to take a piece of card and I'm going to cut it to roughly the length of the spine that I have. And so this is the length of my book. This is the length of the spine. I'm going to show it to you in here as well. You can see right over here. And so we want to make holes. And we can take these off now because this is a quick drying glue, the one that I use. Just going to put all of these clips to the side so that I can first show you how well this has been glued. And that is because we put glue all the way till the edge and we held it down. And now you can see on the side, this is slightly loose. If you want, you can pin it down. I think I might leave it loose for a little while and see how I like it. And then maybe if I feel like it, I'll put it down, maybe put some lace, this lace over there. So this is the cover. It is all ready. What we need to do is we need to create 2 sets of holes for the signatures to go in. And so I do that in a very random fashion. When I'm making junk journals, I don't really measure. So roughly in the center, and then 1 near the top and 1 near the bottom. So hopefully you can see these holes. Maybe they'll show up better on the other side. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to use this lace piece to kind of show me where I want my holes to be. Now, if you're doing this with 3 signatures or 4 signatures, I do advise that you measure this out on the spine. But for 2, I feel like I can kind of wing it. So I'm going to very carefully move this over. And 1, 2, 3. There we have them. And they're pretty similar. But if you had more and you wanted a very, very clean binding on the outside, then you would go ahead and put a little more effort over there. Over here, all we do is we kind of center it, poke 1 hole, 2 holes, and that's the 3rd. Repeat the process. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. And this, by the way, is an awl. You can find this on Amazon or any craft store if you go looking for bookbinding supplies. Now I need to sew in the signatures. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to do a pamphlet stitch, which I've done on my channel before, but I'm going to show you how to do this once again. And first I need some thread. I'm using just normal embroidery thread. I just want to make sure that I choose a color that kind of looks nice on the binding over here. I think this color will look nice. So, first step, untangle the thread. I don't know why this happens to me. Always I'm fighting tangles. But here we go. I'm going to cut it here. Save some time, figure that out later. And I have a needle here that has a pretty large eye. So this embroidery floss goes through very easily. Okay, so we're going to start with the signature. That's going to come at the back, which is this one. Now make sure that it's the right side up, because that can sometimes lead to problems. You want to go in the middle hole over here. You want to find the middle hole that you poked in your spine, and you want to go in through. And you want to leave a little bit of a tail over here. Then you turn around and you look for the hole that you made over here. Which can be hard to do sometimes. So what I do is, if I can't see it on one side, I will flip it over to the other side and try and look for it there. So this is the hole right there. I'm sorry if you can't see this very well. It's hard to do this kind of thing on camera, but here we are. Okay, so So let me walk you through this again. I went in through the middle hole. I looked for the middle hole on the spine, went through that, then back up again on the top, then look for the hole that we made for the top, sometimes when the paper is so busy and the pattern is so busy, I would suggest that if you're doing this for the first time, maybe it would be a good idea to mark your holes with a marker or something. Then I'm going in the top, again looking for the hole. I think it's this one. And go through. Now, this is what it looks like from the inside, and this is what we're looking like on the outside. Now we basically just need to go in through the middle hole again. Now the issue over here usually is that the thread splits because there's already a thread in this hole. Sometimes your needle will go through that thread, so just be careful about that. Now just tighten this up a bit and tie a double knot. I leave a tail most of the times. And now you can take this out, and there is your first signature in, nice and tight and looking great. And now as you can see, a little bit of this is kind of poking out. I might go ahead and trim it. I might just leave it. I don't know. It depends on what I do on that page. Because sometimes as I go along, I also tear the pages or change them to create pockets and other interactive elements. So at this point, I like to leave myself as much room as I possibly can to just play. This is by no means something that is set in stone or perfect. Again, we're going in through the middle, looking for the middle hole and going through that, then the top hole, coming back in, and here. This is another tip. I'm just going to take this piece of thread and clamp it so that I don't lose this end, because sometimes when you're pulling and pushing you will find that you lose that, and then you have to do everything all over again. Okay, so we are looking for the hole that we made, which is over here. See, it's no matter how hard I pull, it's not going to come through, so that is a good thing. Then going down again and looking for the hole, which I believe is somewhere over here. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so the more decorated your spine kind of is, or the more the thread, well, I guess the more decorated your spine is, the harder it is to see what is happening. So if you want to keep things simple, please go ahead and do that. I, as you can probably tell by now, like things to be a little over the top. So wherever I can put more embellishments, I will do that. But that's just a personal preference. Okay, here we are again. If you are confused about this binding technique, because my binding skills on camera do have something, I mean, they're not really that great. You can just Google the pamphlet stitch. I mean, you can just look at it on YouTube as well as Google. There are lots of blog posts and videos made about this particular binding method. And hopefully the pros will show you this in a better way. Now here is the journal, all finished. Get that wire out of the way. And let's just do a flip through. I'm actually just in love with this. And as you can see, this little thing is also peeping out here. So I might actually put some tabs and things, like even fabric tabs, just like staple things in. But I mean, that's for our other videos. That can wait. You can also just put a cutting mat beneath this, and if you want to trim the top, you can do that. So this is what we have. So much that you can do with these pages, and I'm so excited for this series because I feel like doing it on camera also helps me a little bit, because it kind of pushes me to share these projects with you, and because I feel like I need to do that, and I've promised you guys that, you know, I would show you what I'm doing, I end up just getting out of my creative slumps sometimes. It happens to me at the end of the year. There is so much happening, but sometimes you forget that the most important thing is that you make time for yourself and you slow down and you document and you think about everything that you have that you are grateful for. So there we are. That is our December daily. I am super happy with it. And I am going to be back again very soon with another video, and we are going to start playing with our daily.